Hi there, this is Sean, the Honest Book Reviewer, with another book review. In this video, we're discussing Death of a Glutton, written by MC Beaton. It's book 8 in the Hamish Macbeth series, and I think in some countries it's called Death of a Greedy Woman, not Death of a Glutton, so it just depends where you live. Anyway, this isn't the strongest book in the series, far from it. It felt more like a farce than a mystery, and we don't get to see a lot of the characters in the village, and that disappointed me because I think the best books in this series are when you get to see so much of those villages that bring so much life to these books. This plot centers around a group of people who are coming to stay at the posh hotel in the village. You know, that hotel owned by Priscilla's father. They're part of the Checkmate Singles Club, and they've all been invited to come and have a few days at the hotel. They don't know it yet, but they're being paired off when they get there, and the owner of this singles club thinks that she's paired them off into couples that will end up falling in love and getting married eventually. She thinks of herself as a master matchmaker, and I think she's going to find out as the story progresses that she's not as good as she thinks she is. But this singles club is not just owned by one person. There's another partner called Peter Gore. And the other person, Maria, doesn't want Peter Gore to appear. Peter Gore can be nasty. She can be cruel to people. And apparently she's on the hunt for a husband herself. So Maria thinks if Peter Gore turns up, she's going to just cause a bit of trouble with all the people who are trying to enjoy their time at the hotel. And on being on the hunt for a husband, she's going to try to flirt or hone in on some of the single guys that are there as part of this singles club. But in the usual style of these books, the victim has to be somebody that a lot of people don't like. That's what it seems to be in the first few books of this series anyway. Peter Gore does turn up unexpectedly, and she does cause scenes. She's quite nasty. She does try to flirt with the single men who are part of this dating club, and she puts a lot of people offside, even hotel staff. So there are a lot of people who are thinking that they'd want to, get rid of Peter Gore. And you know what I mean by that. Or they're overheard saying that they'd like to get rid of Peter Gore. So it's a whole range of suspects, because eventually, as we know, Peter Gore is going to be the victim who turns up in the book. And we know that it's going to be deemed not an accident, and we know we're going to have a range of suspects. So MC Beaton has crafted this book, this plot, in a similar way to other books in the series up to now. So I think with the 8 books, including this book, I've got a feeling at least 4 have a similar theme going on. That there's a vile person who mistreats other people, puts a lot of people offside, and then they're found dead, and then all those people who have thoughts or have been overheard saying things become suspects. Then, of course, we had Blair coming in to investigate, and that rivalry between Blair and Hamish comes to the forefront again. And of course, most of that is from Blair's side. Blair trying to push Hamish away from the investigation because he's jealous, and he thinks that Hamish is going to solve the case, and Blair wants the credit. So that goes on in this story as well. Not to any great extreme. So at the moment in this book, maybe this part of the series, that relationship is... it's got a bit of angst in there. You can tell Blair doesn't like Hamish, but it's not too extreme. And so you can read it and still enjoy it in the story. For anybody wanting to see progress in the relationship between Hamish and Priscilla, this book is not going to give you what you want. There's no progress in the book for those people, for those characters. They're just swirling around a bit in a repetitive cycle in this story. One of them thinks the other one's flirting, one of them says something or gets offended or misunderstands something the other one says, so they go back and forth a lot in this book. Towards the end, they seem to reach a certain conclusion, and I can't recall top of my head what happens in the future books, but it doesn't promise anything for the 2 characters by the end of this book. One thing I did like about this book is the chef character in the hotel. He's very loud as a character. Not loud in a good way, but he's a larrikin character as well. He seems to have a sense of fun about him, even though his sense of fun is not nice fun. He can be quite nasty and cruel to people. He does something nasty and cruel to characters in this book. But as a character, he stands out. He's vibrant. He's full of life. Even though he plays nasty jokes on people and says nasty things at times, and he has a bit of a history that's questionable, he does stand out as a character, and he seems to be a character that the author, MC Beaton, is trying to make us think embodies a typical character in the area. And I don't know if that's true or not. I'm going to say it's not true, because the character has a very questionable history and does some questionable things in the story. But just the way he's written and the way it brings a sense of fun to it, because his interactions with other people as well in the village at certain times, I think the character stands out for that. But what this book lacks is the people in the village. And I prefer people in the village in the stories. I want a lot of stories in this series with people in the village playing a prominent role. And this book just doesn't have that. It also lacks a clever mystery, and lacks a clever way the mystery is solved. It seems solved by fluke, by chance in this book, and that was disappointing to me. Peter Gore is the victim in the book, and she's easy to see as a victim because she mistreats people. She puts a lot of people offside. So she's an easy victim and easy to have a lot of suspects in the story because of her. I don't like the way MC Beaton created this character. I thought MC Beaton was quite cruel in the way this character was created. I didn't really enjoy the humour about the character, and it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth when I see that happen in a book. So it felt like very, it just felt like very grotesque humour in the story. I just felt MC Beaton was not very sensitive, and I don't get why that is. I don't get if, when the book was first published, would the humour be different? Would people feel differently about it? I'm not sure. But when I read this now, I just don't really enjoy it. Maria, one of the women who own this dating agency, most of her character is on the surface. Most of it is about anger at Peter, because Peter is butting in and mistreating people, being rude to people, and Maria doesn't like that. She thinks Peter is ruining everybody's weekend and ruining their business. After Peter dies, we get a different side to Maria. Maria starts to remember that Peter used to be fun, used to be nice, used to be kind. So we get a little bit more complexity in the Maria character, but not too much. It's still quite shallow. So as a character that's given a bit of time in this book, quite a few pages in this book with Maria in it, she's not given much substance. Crystal, who's Peter's niece, she's written to be a vapid character, but there's a fire to her, there's a steel spine, and we see that come out a couple of times in the story during the investigation, and that's interesting because it brings a different side to the character. So Crystal is a character that has a bit of surprise as you go through this book. And I found that good. It added more substance to Peter than most other characters in the story. Death of a Glutton, or Death of a Greedy Woman, is definitely not the best book in this series. I rated it 3.5 out of 5. I found it a bit disappointing, to be honest. There are some good moments in the book. Hamish plays an okay role in this story. It's not the best book for him so far in the series. And some of the things that go on between him and Priscilla, even now, feel a bit stagnant, feel a bit stale. So movement needs to happen in the series for those two characters. I did enjoy certain moments. I mean, there are some characters with their quirkiness stand out in this story, and they stand out in an okay way, a fun way. But that cruel humour against the Peter Gore character, I didn't enjoy that at all in this book. As I read through this series, for each book, I'll do a book review and put that video up on my channel. If you don't want to miss out on those videos, check out my channel and subscribe. There's also a Hamish Macbeth playlist on my channel. It should be on your screen now.